Bowl 60, here we go.
Let's go down to Tom and Brent.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to kick off this exciting game, and a big shout out to the Flagler Voice podcast studio for producing this show.
John, how are you, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing fabulous, Tom. I tell you what, the best time of the year. It's Super Bowl time, and this is the 60th version of what many of us have had the pleasure of watching like for decades now. And it's hard to imagine that way back in 67, they couldn't even give tickets away.
Yeah, my dad was part of it. My dad went to Super Bowl I, flew out. He worked for TWA, which is an airline that we know no longer exists. They flew out and sat at the Coliseum to watch the first Super Bowl. And the tickets were easy. I think he said they were like $8 or something like that.
And now what are they, about $8,000?
They were talking about it, $8,000 for the nosebleed in the end zone. $8,000. How do you go with a family? You don't. It's all corporate, I guess.
Bring your binoculars. That's all I can say.
For the $8,000, man, I'd rather watch it on TV.
You put it this way, it's a big event.
Yeah.
We see it with the corporate tents outside.
Sure.
And you don't see that many kids at a game.
And that's a shame. Yeah. I mean, it is a little bit of a shame. I've always been a big... I think sports is for the kids and for the families, and it's an event. I get it, but
exactly.
I mean, it's priced itself way out of it. And then but the reality of it is the Super Bowl brings everybody. A lot of people watch it just for the commercials. They can't wait for the commercials. I even love the commercials.
That's right. And if you're a voiceover artist, you really watch the commercials.
Yeah, that's
because you want to think that's what you tend to listen for.
That's right.
But yeah, there's something for everybody, and the commercials are always one of the highlights, and the halftime show. And this year, a controversial kind of thing going on there. And then you've got two halftime shows, from what I understand, to select from. So there's going to be something for everybody. But what we football fans are looking for is a great game where I'm thinking it's going to come down to who has the ball last in this.
Yeah.
The fundamentals always play a big part. Yeah. Turnovers, penalties.
Turnovers. I mean, you saw it through the playoffs. The team that had the most turnovers came out on the losing end. And with this one here, I've been super critical of the Patriots. I just thought they had the 32nd easiest schedule. The producer, he always gives mad because we talk about this Boston teams. But, I've been super critical because they played 32nd easiest schedule by a margin. It wasn't just the 31st was a more difficult schedule. 32nd ranked schedule was brutal. And they coasted their way through that, and then they happened to get C.J. Stroud in the playoffs in the first round. He throws 4 picks in the first half. Can't come back from that. That's almost impossible. And then Bo Nix has a broken foot. He doesn't play in that game, and they go with a backup quarterback that was irrelevant. And it was just that they've had that magic carpet ride, and I believe it ends.
Good way of describing it. Magic carpet ride.
Yeah, right.
But, got to give credit where credit's due. Vrabel was one of the great picks.
I agree. And I knew that was going to happen. And, listen, let's face it, Belichick's coaching tree is not strong. No. When you look at all the coaches that have coached under him and have gone on to be head coaches, it's brutal. Vrabel was one of the few that was a bright spot, and he did it with Tennessee. And when he took that year, I knew the Jets were somebody that they were talking about.
Right.
But the reality is the Jet organization is truly the worst in any sport, as I'm a Jet fan, so it's easy for me to talk about how bad it is.
If you're a Jet fan, you are, I got to say, you're a real fan. Yeah. You're still hanging in there with them. But I've been saying pretty much this season that Vrabel throughout, and I think it looked, especially at the halfway point, you could tell this team's going to go the distance. Denver, the same thing there, too.
I mean, Denver's defense played well enough to win. I mean, that was a great game.
But Vrabel is, I think, the new Dan Campbell.
Okay, that's a good comparison.
In a way.
And I agree. But I think, listen, Drake May is good. Don't get me wrong. They have a good running attack. Diggs is okay on the wide receivers. I think they're a little on the weaker side. But it's typical Belichick-type football, and I hate having to put Belichick with the Vrabel thing. Vrabel's done it. I mean, he's a great coach. Don't get me wrong. But the plug and play, the do your job. Vrabel takes the same thing. There's no big names on defense. Gonzalez is a draft pick that was who was a high quality pick and has played well. But that's it on the names on the defensive side of the football for them. Right. But again, it comes down to great coaching, fundamentals. They don't make mistakes, and that's how you win football in the NFL.
I think Seattle going into this. You alluded to the fact that just before going on that both teams come in healthy. There's really not any major, injuries, which is a rarity. Usually there's some key spot. And what a key spot that was for Denver. I got to believe if Bo Nix plays in that game, win. Broncos are going to come.
I agree. I definitely, again, the magic carpet ride. But, hey, listen.
He really surprised a lot of people this year.
Yeah,
and his maturity.
And Sean Payton knows how to use a great quarterback.
He's been
Sean Payton had 1 week to work with. Who was it? What was the backup in Denver?
Oh, Stidham.
Yeah.
Stidham.
Yeah,
it was his moment.
Yeah.
More than 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah.
60 minutes.
That's right. And I just knew, if they don't make the mistakes, and a great defense, that's how you win championships. Right. Ray Lewis going back to the Ravens back in the day.
Oh.
Trent Dilfer was not a great quarterback.
Siragusa,
but they just said, don't turn the ball over, don't make mistakes. And Ray Lewis told them, we'll win. The defense will win the game, and that's the way they played. And they really did. Minimum mistakes. They had a good running game with Jamal Lewis, and that's how the Ravens did it. This is the thing with Denver. Had the ability, they just didn't have the running game. Without Bo Nix, they were done on the offensive side of the ball, as we saw. What was it? 10-7 was the final.
Yeah.
Weather came into play, but Sean Payton, when given time with somebody like he did with Drew Brees, he's done the same thing with Nix. Nix is a good quarterback. They have good wide receivers. But again, my biggest thing, and I always say this in every show, it's one in the trenches. If you can run the ball, it sets up the passing game. Play action sets up everything. And if you have a good running game and a good attack, which Seattle, they have a big loss, but Seattle with Kenneth Walker can run the ball because they can move. Their line moves the ball, and Sam Darnold. You got to admit, Sam Darnold's good.
And Sam Darnold, what a story that is.
Yeah.
Success in Minnesota last year. He comes to Seattle and hasn't missed a beat.
No,
and you got some good receivers in Seattle.
Yeah,
too.
They sure do. You get rid of the Jet. You leave the Jet organization. That's the best thing that can happen to you. So you leave the Jet organization.
Well, that's the first thing that has to happen.
That's exactly right.
Free yourself from the Jets. And all things that involve, the Jets. We'll touch upon that briefly. They're like a lot of teams right now. The Miami Dolphins down in South Florida. They have not had much to brag about.
No.
But when you talk about it's one in the trenches now, a lot of people are calling the Dolphins the Miami Packers because they've really picked apart the Packers now. You got the head coach says, hey, I'm going to build this team basically with the offensive and defensive line.
That's what I really believe it's one. And if you look at Seattle, Seattle can run the ball with, they definitely run the ball well. Sam Darnold, Jet. Their best defensive player, Leonard Williams, Jet. Both first-round picks. One was 6th overall, the other one was 3rd overall.
The
Jets gave Seattle
the Jets cast off?
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
That's scary. I know. But, Darnold went from the Jets where he had nobody and nothing.
He was seeing ghosts, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was the ghosts. Yeah, that's scary, isn't it?
I thought he was driving across Castleberry on I-4 when he said that.
Yeah, that's good. But as far as Sam Darnold goes, his path to where he is now. It was all about when he got to San Francisco, and he was the backup, but he was underneath Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan's a great man. Look at that Shanahan tree. Shanahan, Sean McVay, Mike McDaniel, all these great offensive guys, and that's what happened. He got to San Francisco as a backup. The two talked. They give him to McConnell over in Minnesota. He goes there and he has an unbelievable. I'm surprised. I was shocked. I think Minnesota made a big mistake not trying to sign Sam Darnold and bring in this JJ. I never thought JJ McCarthy was going to be that type of quarterback. No.
Caliber quarterback.
One good year with Michigan, and they did it with the run and defense when Michigan won the national championship.
Certainly, they have to regret it now.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, they'll give him. They McCarthy showed. No, he didn't. You're right. They're going to regret it. And then Sam Darnold goes from Minnesota, having a great year. Then they said he couldn't win it. Win the big one. He's still Sam. Sam, I throw a pick at the end of every game, and he proved them wrong. Sam Darnold. They went out and they kicked. They took people out to the woodshed in the playoffs.
Well, going back to this matchup, the 60th anniversary. Hard to imagine. For some of us who have, like I said, bared witness to the majority of these Super Bowls, to think that this is the 60th Super Bowl, it just shows you how time flies. It seems like it wasn't that long ago we were talking number 50 there. And the Broncos and Peyton Manning. But now Seattle comes into this game. It'll be their 4th Super Bowl, and they're looking to even the score in more ways than one. They're looking to win 2 to go up against their 2 losses to Pittsburgh and, of course, New England. And that game, when I realized
from the 1-yard line, oh my goodness.
When I saw that this is going to be the Super Bowl matchup, my first thought was Pete Carroll, probably one of the biggest blunders ever. Why don't you give the ball to Marshawn Lynch?
Who beast mode was having a beast mode of a game too.
Beast mode of a game.
Yeah, and you know who the offensive coordinator was for that, right? It was Kyle Shanahan.
Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah.
There you go. There's the tie in there.
Yeah.
But I think Seattle's got the edge. I'll say that right now. I think they've got the edge, and I look for it to be a close game. I'd even say probably a 24-20 game. The former Hurricane kicker, Borregales, there for the Patriots. I think he'll kick a couple.
Yeah,
it's going to be moderate scoring, I think. Nothing outrageous.
No.
Good defenses.
Yeah, that's the thing. The back end of Seattle's defense is young kids that are in their sophomore season, but they had amazing rookie years.
Right.
They're tough. I don't think they're legend of boom like they were talking about, but
no.
That at all 3 levels, they're tough on the defensive side of the ball. Leonard Williams is the anchor, which is on the defensive line. They definitely are. I think they were number 3 against the run this year. And then the back half, who was injured for the last part of the season, so the numbers were a little skewed. But once they're healthy, they're tough defensively. Right. They really are. And again, Sam Darnold, Kenneth Walker, if they can control the ball, time of possession, I think is going to be huge. No turnovers. It's a Seattle win because the magic carpet ride is over.
The magic carpet ride might be coming to an end.
And I think the coaching of Vrabel, the discipline that they'll have, and everything, they'll keep them. You're right. It'll keep them in the game. It's not going to be a blowout.
No.
And Drake May is an athlete. I mean, you see how? I mean, he's a big kid.
Drake May is
6'5".
very impressive.
I mean, he's a big kid.
How fortunate the Patriots are.
Yeah.
Because
no
it's so hard to replace a starting quarterback. We've seen that down in South Florida in Miami since Marino retired after that debacle in Jacksonville in the playoffs in '99 with Coach Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
They have yet to, they went to Fiedler, and then the list goes on and on. Same thing with coaches. And the Patriots, look at that. Who would have thought that they would be right back in the thick of things so quickly?
So quickly. And that's a credit to a good organization.
It is.
From top to bottom. I talk about it, and I played sports to a pretty high level, and, football being the fraternity, I wish I would have taken that sport rather than baseball, but football, the fraternity. And I think that the best teams and the best organizations, it's about the culture. If you have a good culture, if a coach comes in there and brings his culture in, and it's about tough, hard-nosed, hard work, no games, you got your players, coaches like a Pete Carroll, had success with the way he coached. But to me, that's the discipline, the Tom Coughlin's, the Bill Parcells, the Bill Belichick's, those guys. And that's and I think Vrabel is in that mode. You know what I mean? It's when it's business time, it's business. You won't see Vrabel jumping up and down until that whistle blows.
That's true.
Until it's over.
Football locker room is a special place, especially after a win.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been in locker rooms interviewing players, and there's a big difference in a losing locker room and a winning locker room. But a winning locker room, look at the Bears. Look at Ben Johnson and
when he took his shirt off.
Right.
Yeah. I love that stuff.
Not too many coaches you want them to take their shirt off.
Right.
Like,
well, today they're in a lot better shape than they've ever been. Back in the day, you don't want Andy Reid ripping off his shirt.
Andy Reid is one of those things that if you dream about that, you obviously ate pizza the night before or something. Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah.
But going on to the discipline factor of Vrabel, and again, how fortunate the Patriots with that rare combination of a head coach that you could see doing this for a decade easily. He is young, relatively young. And May, of course, too. He could have 15 years easily.
Yeah. And especially with his size and athleticism. I mean, he's, listen.
Could be durable. He's durable. You got to be durable to play in the NFL.
And he is. I don't think he's Josh Allen durable, but I think he's durable. And Josh Allen's, let's face it, it starts to break down when you're playing against guys that big and you're taking those kind of hits all the time. the body's going to break down. It's just natural.
And he can move.
Yeah.
He's got quick feet.
That's what I'm saying. He's an athlete. He's a true athlete with great arm strength. And, like I said, when we're going back to that, I'm thinking about the Kraft family. It's an organization well run. Robert Kraft, even though his one little shot in the happy ending massage parlor.
Oh, yeah.
That was a tough thing. That was in Jupiter, Florida when I was living there.
Good old Jupiter.
Yeah. Jupiter gets a name on it.
Now, that wasn't the same place Deshaun Watson went to. I mean, no. Different places.
Deshaun had those brought into his room. Talk about the biggest disaster of football. I mean, when they signed him after that nightmare of what he did with 25 women, and then Cleveland goes and gives him $250 million. Let's reward him and meanwhile, they knew he wasn't going to play suspended the next year. Just one of the worst. They made the Jets look good. That organization, what they did.
Browns.
That was a terrible.
The Browns and the Lions. It's still amazing. As bad as your team is, just think of the Browns and the Lions, because that's like the gray background that you want to have in back of you. They have not even been to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, I know.
Neither team has been to a Super Bowl. And again, we look at the Patriots now, and it's like, boy, you're kind of spoiled. If you're up there in the New England area, you got to be a little spoiled.
Yeah, the gloating of the producer right now. He's gloating.
The gloating, yes.
Made me wear his Patriots sweatshirt like 2 weeks ago because I lost a bet, which is a horrific moment in my life.
But it wasn't always like that, though.
No.
The Patriots.
No, going back to what? Steve Grogan.
Steve Grogan. And then somewhere I'm hearing the late, great Howard Cosell mention number 81, the tight end Russ Francis, describing him as the angular one.
Yeah.
He would always I never could figure that out. I thought all of them were fairly angular.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, the Patriots had in the 70s and the 80s. It wasn't, they lost to the Bears in 86, the Fridge.
Yeah.
That was their first appearance.
The Super Bowl shuffle. That 85 Bears team. That 85 Bears team is a team that'll be talked about. Yeah.
Oh,
man. They were on the defensive side there, linebackers, Singletary. Oh man.
Great.
I mean, Otis Wilson.
Mongo.
Yeah. What did you? Oh man, that's another. We'll talk about that afterwards. How he disintegrated.
Oh, it's incredible.
That was horrible.
But what a great team! What a great defense.
Van Hampton.
And here's
Gary
the thing:
Fensick,
4 decades ago, can you imagine? 40 years ago, they were doing the Super Bowl shuffle.
40 years ago. That's scary.
40.
You just aged me. Thank you for that.
Well, I always do this when I think of things on those terms. In '86, if you said to somebody 40 years ago, that was the year after World War II ended.
I graduated high school in 88.
Mind-blowing. It'd be so ancient.
Yeah.
But that's because everything was in black and white.
Yeah.
Now you can look at NFL films from 40 years ago.
Steve Sable.
Yeah, Steve, the late, great Steve, and Ed Sable, who founded NFL Films.
What incredible. Incredible.
And that's, you see the video, and it looks like it was just yesterday, if it was well preserved, and most of it is.
Yeah, it is.
And I think it may be in New Jersey, NFL Films houses.
New Jersey, yep.
Those huge reels.
Oh, yeah.
Must look like an Amazon warehouse.
It is exactly what it looks like. It's crazy because you got every game from every different camera. I mean, it's
the mid-'60s, easily.
Yeah.
Humble beginnings, but now look at now. You know what I miss? I miss the slow motion of the football twirling in a spiral going into the receiver's hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was the guy's name? Koss, the one who used to do.
Oh, the late, great, the voice of God, John Facenda.
Yeah,
the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. Remember that?
My man.
And the late, great. We refer to a lot of people as late, great, but got to give them their due. The late, great Harry Callis.
That's what I was thinking of, Harry Callis.
Who was the voice of the Philadelphia Phillies and Eagles. Back in the 70s and 80s, probably early part of the 90s, up to he was working on up to, I think, the day he passed away.
Right, but and it didn't change. The Eagles have had a great somebody in the booth that's been a voice that goes on. I mean, it's amazing. You know what I never knew is Hard Knocks, one of my favorite shows of all times. It's I'm trying to think of the guy who does the voice on that is Schreiber. Liev Schreiber.
Right, Liev Schreiber.
Who I watched it for years, never knew it was Liev Schreiber, and then when I found out it was him, and then everybody found out it was him because it was pretty, it wasn't a big thing that they talked about. Once they realized it was the actor Liev Schreiber, it became
not exactly a household name.
Not for
In
sports.
fact, if I go around Palm Coast and I say, "Hey, do you know who Liev Schreiber?" They'll think it's a realtor over in Flagler Beach, probably. They'll say, "No, we're not making the connection there." What was that, Hard Knocks? Oh yeah, I've had that kind of life.
Yeah, especially here in Flagler.
But yeah, going back to this matchup, I think it's a great matchup. I think it's going to be, like I said, moderate scoring. I don't see anybody jumping out in front by a couple of touchdowns or anything like that.
Yeah,
And the Super Bowls in the last 15 years, if you look at it, they've been relatively close. We've had an overtime Super Bowl. We've had great comebacks in the end. Unlike the 80s with the 49ers, and the first thing that comes to my mind, 55-14 in 1989 over the Broncos. So all these matchups have been good matchups.
Yeah,
really
and this
close.
is the first time, and I think that they said that it's over 3 and it's over 4 points because it's 4.5 is the line, or actually I think it hit 5. That it's been that high. Yeah, that it's been that high of a spread in the last 12 years. It's always been 3 and under. Yeah, 3 and under. So
I could see it. Like I said, I'm going to go with a 24-20. I'm seeing some field goal action there.
That hook, that 4.5. So you like, okay, so I get it. And you think Seattle's doing it.
But now you got to come up with your pick now.
Yeah.
You got to save it for the end.
Probably. But I think Seattle. I think Seattle wins it. I think they win by a touchdown. You have
by a touchdown.
Yeah. I do. I think the happy ride's over. I do. The magic carpet ride, as I've called it. But I just think I think Seattle. Seattle's not far from Levi Stadium, a lot easier than traveling all the way over from.
Right. Both teams travel well.
That's true.
The fans are involved.
It's not families anymore.
Yeah, but it's not families, and it really comes down to who's got some disposable income because of the price of these tickets. I haven't looked at the Vivid or whatever the ticket brokers.
Yeah. StubHub is what I use.
StubHub.
Yeah.
But what's the cheapest ticket?
Yeah.
Is it 8,000?
It's 8,000.
Is it 8,000?
It's 4,000.
4,000.
Top row, in the end zone, 4,000, and then it's 8,000, and then club levels 18. $18,000 for one ticket to sit club level to watch one game. To me, that's ridiculous. And then the front row, they're 40, 50, 60,000 for a game. For one football game, that's a year's salary for most.
For most, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But that is the reality of it. And so when you look through the crowd, you don't see families.
No.
Because at that price, you're lucky to have one person from your family.
Even the guys, you think about the Raider fans that get all dressed up. These are hardworking blue-collar people, most of them. And they put on all that makeup and stuff. They're going to spend $20,000 to go see their team.
Incredible.
That's how do you do that? You
have
to take out a loan,
and it keeps going up and up every year.
And
it's never going to go down.
No,
it's like anything else. But pretty soon you're going to have to create a GoFundMe account to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Or
it's so funny that you say that because I was watching. We talk about all the things that go on in the Super Bowl and the halftime show.
Right.
Do you just get ballpark what you think that the halftime show the main performer gets? How much money do you think he gets?
Well, in this case, Bad Bunny.
Who donated $400 million to Puerto Rico? By
$400 million.
Puerto Rico.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Talk about disposable income.
Yeah, $400 million. But it's his country.
I thought it was a typo.
Yeah, so did I. I thought it was.
I'm thinking, what is too many zeros?
Yeah,
$40 million.
Or $4 million.
$4 million. Hey, that sounds very reasonable.
$400 million.
Well, I could even throw in 20 on that.
Yeah.
But I
got
look
5.
That's an astronomical figure.
Yeah.
But I think that the controversy it goes along with. I think a lot of people are going to be tuning in.
Yeah, they do. They do. Bad Bunny's got obviously a very big following. But
big following.
The halftime show performers, they get paid the union scale minimum, which is about $4,500 or $5,000 or something. It's something in there. It's below $10,000, and that's all they get. So what they get is the fact that they are the Super Bowl performer. Most of them will, when they find out, which is 6 months or in advance, they'll pop an album that'll come out at the time when they become, it's all about
promotional.
Yeah, exactly.
Promotional thing.
It's not they don't do it for the money. That's for sure. What comes with it is what they do it for. So, fun fact, useless fact, but fun.
No, that's a beautiful thing that you mention it, because now we see we can have some sympathy. For Bad Bunny. Yeah, because he spent $400 million
and he got paid $4,000.
Well, that reminds me of a Billy Joel song. What was that? He was a wedding singer and union clothes or so, wages,
Yeah. And I'm a Billy Joel guy. I don't know what song that is because he's from Long Island. Where are you from? You're from South Florida?
From Miami.
Right?
From Miami. The Miami Dolphins, who I have to agree with, you see it every now and then on a T-shirt, rebuilding since 1974. Yeah. And I do believe that is the case, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But, when we mention some of the great coaches, and it's been mentioned on this show before, the long list, and I think Don Shula, you got to give him still the career leader in wins.
And put it this way, Don Shula, first ballot Hall of Famer. Bill Belichick, not.
Well, let's talk about that real quick.
Yeah, we only got 5 minutes. How does that happen?
We'll give him his 30 seconds here. Bill Belichick, how did that happen? I read something where one of the voters said he wanted to get some of the veteran players in. He gave them their
Somebody
vote.
said it was, I heard that before, that it was because it's for the players. It's not about the coaches and the The reality is, what they said was the final straw was this Deflategate and the Spygate. And Spygate.
They're influenced by that.
They were influenced by the fact that he cheated. It almost goes to the Baseball Hall of Fame, not letting these guys in that use steroids. That was their thought process. Can you imagine that?
That is
7 Super Bowls or 10 Super Bowls, right? They were in 10,
Who's
6.
Pass that?
And you don't get him in because he deflated the ball, which he had nothing to do with.
Right.
I mean, Spygate, I mean, he did have his coaches over there picking up the garbage.
He's got to be in. Next
of course
year.
He does, man. You still got to do it on the field. You can do all you want with paperwork and cameras. You still have to perform.
That's right. Well, we'll get into that.
Yeah, we got
on another time around, like with Pete Rose.
Oh, to me that was a travesty. I mean, come on. I mean, he never. If he had gambled for his teams to lose and he was throwing games,
if you're betting on your own team, I think everyone should bet on their own team.
Right, that's it.
Before.
I mean,
it should be a requirement.
Yeah, no doubt. You got to put your skin in the game if you're going to do anything, right?
That's right. Have a little special interest in it.
Yeah, but John, it was a pleasure, man. I'm glad. I appreciate you coming on and doing this, and I hope we can do this again.
Absolutely.
As a regular basis.
I'll look forward to it,
All
Tom.
Right,
thank you so much.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
And Patriots, Seahawks, it's going to be a good one.
So you got the Patriots covered. So you're taking the Patriots with the points.
I'm going to go with Seahawks 24-20, the final score.
So you're taking the line's 5.
The line's 5.
Yeah. So I'm taking the Patriots to cover the 5.
I know you're on a hot streak.
Yeah, I am, brother.
Wouldn't be a bit surprised.
All right, my friend. We'll talk to you.